back. You know, it feels weird to start a recording and not know that I'm going to be chained to a channel for the next 5 videos. We're just watching one little video today, just one.
I know we're really trying to run out the clock today. I really don't want to commit to any overtime or anything.
Here, let me do some little
I think
in post centering
I
of
think the
this.
supervisor's getting ready to leave. I see him packing up their suitcase right. Might be able to hit the break room up in a little bit.
Oh, dude, you know, I've been trying to get back into the break room and play some more Devil May Cry. But for now, we're gonna talk about a an interesting one, Mr. Loach. Are you ready? Are you ready for this?
The Consumerist Dystopia of Harry Potter. Yeah, actually, this is gonna be one you're gonna have a lot of expertise in because you've been telling me you've been rewatching and like going through all the books and stuff.
Yeah. Um, there was an idea a long time ago that I would create the most comprehensive breakdown of Harry Potter on the internet. That idea has consumed like 3 PCs. I've been working on this video for 3 computers in a row, and
I mean, it's a
I'm
weird metric whenever PCs don't actually last that long for you.
I know, but well, I mean, yeah, I mean, I've been the furthest I've been on this video is an hour and 20 minutes when my computer got destroyed and I lost everything. So for the most part, my whole goal was to talk about how Harry Potter is a fine story if you like it, and you're allowed to like it. I'm not trying to take that from you, of course. Um, it is not great. It's not a great story with the likes of Lord of the Rings or The Prestige or Alien. I mean, I'm talking about movies now instead of books, but I mean, just Lord of the Rings is probably the most apt comparison as a fantasy series. It's riddled with problems all the way from the world building to characterization. And my goal was to prove that this wasn't a movie issue. This was just a story issue to show that these same kind of issues appear in the movie and book. It is way more of a undertaking than I ever could have anticipated with the level of detail I'm trying to do. Um, and so it's just taken a really long time. So when it comes to knowledge and research, I am familiar with. Okay, hold on. I'll wait. What you got?
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Did you look at this channel?
No, I just clicked on this video. That's it.
Oh, good. Oh boy.
So yeah, when it comes to my research on Harry Potter, pretty recent. I mean, I'm looking at my series right now on my shelf. That so this is already just. I mean, let's just get out. Let's get it out of the way. The title's fucking strange. The Consumerist Dystopia of Harry Potter.
You
Um,
should look at some of their other titles for their videos.
I don't think I will. I think I'll live in blissful ignorance. But I
I
mean,
have a strong feeling you're gonna get a good idea in this video.
maybe this will be a preliminary inspection that causes a content audit. Who
No,
knows?
it won't. I'm a veto the content audit. I
Okay,
don't want to.
okay, all right. Well then,
It will be heavily edited videos if we do.
so let's talk about the consumerist dystopia. First of all, I'm hoping we're going to be talking about media and not the meta because this was a year ago when Hogwarts Legacy was coming out. Was when this video came out. So I'm really worried this is going to end up being a meta discussion about how we are dystopianizing Harry Potter by turning it into a commodity to be bought. And so I don't want to talk about the meta, and this will be a waste of a surprise inspection. What I'm hoping we're talking about is like, I'm saying like too much. I'm a teenage girl. Is because of the world building that's present. What we are actually not aware of is that the world that Harry Potter is set in is one that's set in a dystopia of the most important thing is to consume in your society and keep consuming. And that
I
would
mean,
be
I would
interesting.
also think it would talk about just how like inherently wasteful a lot of the productions from the society are, and how like they're they're much more they're made to where they're much more advantageous to those that are in higher positions of power, keep people that are of like in like lower economic positions in those low positions. You know.
Now, this is what I'll say. That can all be well and good. and maybe that's true. Do you do you really think that J.K. Rowling had that in mind when she was writing? I mean, this is where we're going to get into the issue with kind of these more political subject matter, and this is where Death of the Author comes in. You can unintentionally have a message that you weren't attempting to account for, but and I wonder if that's going to be covered in the argumentation of the video. This is trying to be presented as some kind of message rather than being, accidental world building, as you could say. I don't know. It'd be weird to approach this as this is the message that is being sent to you in Harry Potter when I just don't think that's what J.K. Rowling was intending. But yeah, I'm hoping we're going to talk about the way money works in Harry Potter and the way the bank systems work and how much power Green Gods has or whatever. Now, do I agree with the sentiment of the title? No. I don't think it's a consumerist dystopia. There's a few different issues with that, even as an idea. The Weasleys are shown to be a poor family in the wizarding world, and even they have a gigantic house. And this isn't to say like poverty doesn't exist in consumerist dystopias. What I mean is that most of the things they have through means of creating or patching on themselves. Like the burrow isn't like additions they buy. It's things they find that they're able to magically graft onto this big tall house and accommodate their many children. And look, just
isn't it like at one point in time, don't the Weasleys like win the lottery and then they like stay poor because they like buy a bunch of shit they don't need?
no. What happens is they win some amount. I want to say, like during the summer break at the beginning of the third book, it could be then, and they take a vacation because, oh god, so this is like a really small detail, but it's something like they took a vacation to go visit their eldest son who was doing Egyptology. So they had a bunch of money. They could have spent it on like savings or maybe investing it in whatever. But it was almost like a character decision to they're going to take their entire family and go visit their eldest son who's working, and it was a great surprise, and they got to hang out with him. But no, they didn't like waste it on like wizard candy or whatever. I think the important thing with the Weasleys
on Wizard Jordans.
I think the thing that was always displayed with the Weasleys is that they weren't poor because they made bad decisions or anything. They were poor because they had 7 children and they didn't necessarily care about money. So as long as they were all fed, which I mean they were very well fed according to any time Harry went over there, they had enough food to like dump on that kid because he was very skinny and frail, and Molly was worried about him. Molly Weasley's the goat, by the way. Yeah, they had plenty of food to feed their kids, plenty of land for them to roam around and play like Quidditch or whatever with their makeshift brooms. A pleasant and very like the outside may look ramshackle, but Harry describes the inside as being warm, cozy, and lived in and like decorated. So it's like a very nice and probably clean and like decorated house that Molly spends time in. All the kids are well adjusted, happy, and like get along with each other except Percy, the fucking rat. I mean, everybody, it seems like a happy home. So it doesn't seem like they're poor because of bad decisions or because of negative influences. I mean, Arthur works in the government. It's just money is not their top priority. Family, love, and, doing the right thing is more important to them. Which,
They just won't stop shitting out kids for the magical tax breaks.
well, I mean, that or just Molly's got that S tier grip.
Hey yo.
I wouldn't doubt it. All right,
Hey, dude. The less money the lady has, dude. Hey, yo.
all right. So the Consumerist Dystopia of Harry Potter. You wanna hit the play button for me?
Yes, I will.
Superhero cartoon who looked like he was on his way to a medieval pride parade was, like so many American cartoons at the time, created to sell toys. Mattel needed a new toy line to compete with the Star Wars toys, so they developed He-Man and the Masters of the Universe. And to advertise those
Okay.
toys, the TV series was created as an elaborate half-hour ad.
Okay. So what do we think about that?
I mean, the thing I will say is 100%. This is very true. Like back in the early '90s, a lot of like TV animations were specifically done so they could sell toys. I mean, one of the best examples is Transformers. It's like the best example of that is their whole thing was to sell toys. They made a show around it. They made comics around it. Like the toy buying industry was massive around that time, and as the whole toy market's become less and less so, these shows have become more of the moneymaker than the like it's really swapped from the toy lines being the main generator of profit for these companies and the show just being a thing to draw in more people to buy the toys. But now it's kind of the other way around, where like the bigger viewership you get, yeah, you're going to sell toys for merchandise so that people could have it, but it's not a main driver of profits anymore.
Mm. Well, yeah.
But this was the case with a lot of shows back then.
Uh, I, I'm sure there were some motivations behind. I mean, yeah, I'll agree. In the same way that Pokemon and Yu-Gi-Oh were essentially designed to make toys, but um,
I mean, yeah, the statement of saying it was a 30-minute advert is a bit of a reach.
but this is what I'll always say. Just because it starts as a commercial doesn't mean nothing meaningful can be brought out of the storytelling. I mean, are you really going to tell me that nothing meaningful can be derived from '90s Transformers just because it was designed to sell toys? I mean,
Yeah,
fuck, like Starscream's whole arc. I mean, fuck you.
yeah, the insinuation here is kind of taking away agency from the stuff that's written. Like He-Man is an example they're trying to pull from because it's schlocky. There's not really a whole huge character arc that goes on with it. It's kind of like watching Johnny Quest. Like
Well,
you're in it.
well,
You're in it to.
I mean, you are in it for a very obvious action and appeal reasons. But what I'll say is like, He-Man was. It didn't have to be complex, but the story it was presenting was a noble warrior willing to fight for his people like a king, right? Fighting against evil. And yeah, it doesn't have to be super complex, but there are basic characterizations that you could try to emulate as a young boy. I mean, as if you were a young child watching this growing up, He-Man's probably a more positive role model than, fucking Uncle Grandpa. God, I hate that show. Like, it's just a strong masculine figure that fights evil and, stands for justice. All I'm saying is the idea that the only thing you can get from these is that they were commercials is kind of strange to me. Where, like,
I,
you know.
yeah, I definitely think that's an opinion from them that's bleeding over a lot more into this. Like the reason I was saying that was because He-Man is an example that they're pulling from because it's the easiest one to be able to attribute that to. Like,
Yeah.
if you take the comparison of He-Man to Transformers, we're gonna rip you a new one if you tried to say this about Transformers, right?
Well, I mean, this is what I think is really interesting. Do you remember the He-Man got like a reboot or something by Kevin something? I can't
Talking
remember.
about the newest one where it's like She-Ra and the whatever the fuck.
No, it's like Masters of the Universe where He-Man dies in like the second episode.
No, I'm not sure about
Oh
that one.
man, so there was this whole controversy because this was all pitched to be like a reboot of He-Man classic, art style. It looked pretty good. He-Man dies in the second episode, and then like the female who's been like bulked up and looks like she's basically an androgynous dude, she becomes the main character, and then
You're talking about She-Ra.
okay, I don't think. Hold on, I'm about to just
I'm pretty sure that's what you're
hold
talking about.
on. Masters of the Universe. No, not man. I'm just making sure this is written by. Yeah. You. I guess you haven't heard of this. It's called Masters of the Universe Revolution. Um. So. Does it show who it's written by on here? Because I want to make sure it's written by the right guy.
Oh, dude, the art on this looks fucking sick. It looks like Castlevania.
Who wrote Masters of the Universe? Alright, goddamn it. Who's Silent Bob in fucking Jane Silent Bob? What's his name?
I don't know. I'm
Kevin
notoriously
Smith.
bad with
He-Man
the
that Kevin Smith wrote. Yeah, Masters of the Universe Revelation. is
So it's not revolution.
oh my god, hold on, just making sure. Yeah, okay, yeah, it's Revelation, not Revolution.
Could I say because revolution looks fucking sick.
Well, I think they both have the same art style, but it's the here's the issue. Um, People weren't ranting and raving over original He-Man because of the art style, and people were recognizing that it was to sell toys. You know, no one was, you know, really shocked about that if they were told that, but no one had a backlash against it. Why? Well, because it had a very simple premise and approach. It was just a character who is likable fighting evil. Why did people hate Masters of the Universe Revelation? Well, you took that character that everybody liked, who's very simple and just liked fighting evil. You kill him, you replace him with a female alternative, who then does his job and saves the world, and then lectures, because you know how He-Man dies? He basically sacrifices himself to save the kingdom.
Okay.
So she lectures him and says, "You left me to deal with everything," and he said, like, "I died to save the world," and he goes like, she said like, "But you didn't try to live to save it," or something like that. Basically made this a version where his sacrifice was selfish of him because it allowed him to, you know, finally be done with the continual struggle of fighting against evil and rest, even if it meant he was dead to save the, you know, it was one of those like, your sacrifice wasn't actually for the world, it was for you. It tried to do the Megamind thing, except he actually did sacrifice himself to save the world.
As about to say, like the thing is, it feels like a lot of writers really want to use that character trope. Like they want to say that line and get that like through line for a character, not realizing that is one of the harder things to justify in universe.
Well, yeah, I mean, they what they want is a subversion of, oh, you're gonna believe he's so noble and he did this for a good reason, and then I'm gonna get you to think about it in a different direction because, you know, we only ever sympathize with the person who's doing the sacrificing. We never think about the loved ones of the person who's sacrificed and sacrifices they have to make. It's like, sure, you can do a story about that. What you can't do is be one of the people. Okay, here's the thing: if I sacrifice my life to save the world, and then you come and lecture me because I'm not here to do CRS with you, Trevor,
Mhm.
I'm gonna go, hey man, I sacrificed myself to save the world. I'll haunt you, motherfucker. I'll kill you. Like,
Yeah,
you
the
ungrateful fuck.
yeah, the moment you that like that I would come and say that, the moment you have 10 African villages over there go, I really appreciate the fact that he died so that I could live,
Yeah.
kind of outweighs my opinion, right?
Well, yeah, and that's one of the things. Uh, why, and it's why Endgame was so satisfying for people. If Pepper Potts was like, you left me to raise this kid on my own, you know, like, it'd be very sour. But you know what Pepper Potts said to Tony Stark in that moment? Probably the thing he needed to hear the most. It's okay. You can rest. You're done. You did it. We're safe. And that's that good shit. Like, you know, there's just that basic masculine need to sacrifice yourself for the greater good and knowing it paid off. And that's just one of those satisfying character moments. And yeah, do I think that Pepper's life is going to be super easy after Tony Stark's death? No. But, and you can do a story about that. But when you're dealing with the person who actually made the sacrifice, you need to show the utmost, you know, gratefulness and respect to that character. Because that character has basically done the ultimate act.
Yeah, you need to show the respect to the character, especially if you're not portraying it as they did something wrong.
Well, yeah, I mean, even if you want to have the character, like, you could even have the whole arc of the character isn't grateful at first for their sacrifice, but comes to understand it later. But you still need to do, they were right in their sacrifice. You can't make it to where their noble sacrifice was now the wrong thing morally to do. Like, what message are you even trying to send? What? So uh, He-Man should have just let Grayskull fucking kill the world, or found a different way. I don't know, man. He was operating with what time he had. We should actually go through Masters of the Universe Revelation. I think that'd actually be a good one to cover. But
Put it in the fucking pinned list.
also, this is my favorite ratio we've done so far. We're 20 seconds in the video and 20 minutes in the recording.
We'll write it on a fucking notepad and stick it on the monitor. All right.
All right, let's go.
Okay, but we got this from Toys.
Yeah.
Worry, parents. Each episode ends with a moral, so it was good for your children.
Welcome to 90s animation.
Yeah,
Welcome to children's media.
I think
in
he's
the
just.
early
I think he's
90s.
just summing up the formula, and that's why he included Transformers, and it's very simple, meant to sell toys. You got a simple moral message. He's just giving us the formula.
Okay.
Back, boy, get off him. I'm just
Actually,
yanking your
they're
leash.
definitely not trying to exploit them.
I'd like to talk to you for just a moment.
Wait, did you say exploit them?
Let's go back.
Elaborate half-hour ad. But don't worry, parents. Each episode ends with a moral, so it was good for your children. Actually, they're definitely not trying to exploit them.
I'd like to talk to you for just a moment.
Oh,
Safety.
The land.
oh. Okay, well that's a pause. But okay, the idea that you're selling. Okay, so you're doing. And okay, yeah, okay. So we got to break this down. It's exploitative to market toys through children's entertainment that would be free to watch, but they're gonna want the toy for Christmas. But okay, let's talk about just for a second. What do you think happens when a little boy watches any TV? Like, if a toy doesn't exist for that TV show, it's not like the kid is gonna go, "Oh well, I no longer want that toy." It's just, "Oh no, I wish that toy existed." For example, when I was a kid, what I wanted more than anything was super manipulative and like able to kind of pose in any way you want. Dragon Ball Z characters, so I could kind of pose them and do different things, and like I would never have done stop motion animation, but I like the idea of I can make them do the full fusion dance and make it look accurate, and I wanted like pieces where you can interchange the torso and the legs to, if I did a fusion instead of getting a whole different toy out, I could just combine Goku and Vegeta until it looked like a fusion, and
That toy sounds fucking sick, dude.
yeah. That toy didn't exist when I was 9. That toy exists now. I want it.
I mean, also like, yeah, they have the show, but the idea is they are providing this entertainment, so therefore it is an advertisement for them to be able to get the thing from the thing that they're deriving the entertainment from.
And
The toy would still exist on the shelves. When they walk past the toy aisle, they would see the buff guy and go, what is that guy?"
oh, that's true. There are plenty of like I got a He-Man toy without ever watching a single episode of He-Man as a kid. You know why? I was like, this guy looks it'd be a fun fight for Goku. That was it.
This guy looks like he fucks. That's what you thought.
Yeah, he looked buff and had a sword. I was like, I'm gonna use him to fight my Trunks, and it's gonna be great. He's gonna beat Trunks. And Trunks is gonna go Super Saiyan. He's still gonna lose, but then Goku's gonna come in base form, and he's gonna swat the sword out of He-Man's hand, and you're gonna think He-Man's. I didn't know what his name was, so I just called him Buff-Man. Or actually, no. He-Man was on the box, so I called him He-Man. And I was like, it's gonna slap the sword out of He-Man's hand, and then He-Man's gonna be like, huh. I didn't know what he sounded like, so I was like, huh. You think that I only know how to fight with my sword? And then he's gonna reveal that he can use ki too, and then they're gonna fight. And like, that's what I did as a kid. You know how many episodes of you know how many episodes of like the sorry, go ahead.
Go ahead.
I was gonna say,
No.
you know how many episodes of like the newer Power Rangers I've seen? 0. You know how many times I need to see them to understand that Red Ranger is cool and probably transforms into a cool fucking Zord? None. It's very simple. And I don't know, man. This isn't black tar heroin. It's toys that kids want to fucking play with. What should they be doing instead? Their taxes? Like.
I mean, this is the same argument that they have whenever it's like little girls watching My Little Pony indoctrinates them with feminine ideology. It's like, bro, what the fuck are you talking about? They're pink horses, man.
And I don't know,
They're
man. I feel like their
pink
feminine.
horses.
I feel like their feminine ideology came free with their feminine biology.
Ayo.
Well, no, it's just like, dude, they're gonna get the ideology of being feminine. It's like, well, they're feminine.
Bro, the guys want buff figurines that punch things, and the girls want tea sets, and your dog wants to chew on a bone. What?
Well, and here's the thing.
Huh?
I think that He-Man and Dragon Ball can appeal to girls for Very obvious reasons. Guys like it because of buff dudes. There are girls that, my sister liked it because of buff dudes. You know, like I don't. My sister was a talented artist as a kid. I don't even want to know what kind of down horrendous shit she drew of Vegeta.
How many times have sisters got the boys' toys from the buff guys and
Uh-huh.
had them be at the tea party
Yeah, oh, all the
with the
time.
Barbies? With
Well,
the
yeah,
Barbies, yeah. My Barbie's gonna get the hot buff guy.
yeah. He's getting this. About to get cucked by Goku.
Yeah, exactly.
Like that.
Ken, get the fuck out of here. You don't have a 12 pack with striations.
Dude, and when we got the Broly toy, I swear to God, I didn't like. I got that for Christmas, and it was lost for like 2 weeks because my sister just like took it until she learned how to draw Broly. Because my sister was, you know what? She watches this, so I should be careful. I don't even want to know what down horrendous shit you drew of Vegeta. I know for sure you've written some down horrendous shit about Harry Potter and Dragon Ball Z. And if I ever find your fan fiction account, I'm leaking it live. I swear to God. No, I'm just kidding. I would never.
Here's what we'll do. If this video gets 1,000
No,
likes,
no. I'm not gonna do that.
we will review one of the docs.
I don't think I could even find it. I don't even. Oh, I'd have
No,
to
I'm
think
saying-
about what her usernames would have to be.
Yeah, I'm saying if this video gets 1,000 likes, we will find it, we will dig it up, we will review it, and we'll do a surprise inspection on it.
I'm not doing that to Chelsea. I don't even know how I'd be able to find it.
Well, you already said if it gets 1,000 likes.
No, I didn't say that. I'm not making
Yeah,
a
you said
promise.
that.
I'm
Let's play
editing
it
this
back.
out. I'm editing
Let's
this
play
out.
it back. I'll
Alright.
play the clip right now.
Alright, press play.
landscape of 80s kids TV was pretty shady. Wouldn't it be better if kids could just switch off and maybe read a book or two? Well, now they can with J.K. Rowling's Harry Potter. But to stay hydrated during those heavy page turns, why not crack open a can of Harry Potter Coca-Cola? Or eat your breakfast with a Harry Potter egg cup. Blow your nose with Harry Potter tissues. Do your makeup with a wand. Try this.
Dude, those things look sick though. What?
It's just, I don't understand.
It's called memorabilia.
Okay,
Bro,
alright,
bro,
here's
wait,
my
hold on.
issue with this. Hold on, this is my issue with this.
Hold the fuck on.
Hold
Look at
on.
all.
No, I know, and this is the point they're gonna make, is that it's done the same thing to them. I think that's kind of the point they're making. But hold on, just give me a second. J.K. Rowling was working in a diner, writing the original draft of Philosopher's Stone on fucking napkins. She got it turned down from like seven or 8 publishers before she finally got it approved. If you're going to tell me that her approach at that time was, she's like, once I finally get a publisher, I'm gonna sell so many fucking Harry Potter mugs. Like, I think she was like, I'm going to make money. That's the fucking goal, hopefully, is that I don't have to work at this diner anymore. As anyone who's worked in food service can attest, anything to get out. Like,
As this British gentleman next to her goes, "Hey, love, you better get me another coffee and some crumpets."
so like,
And he grabs her.
yeah. But I think this is, you're stretching it a little bit, where it's like, all right, yeah, and we are just talking. No, we're talking about the meta. This is like a waste of time. Fuck.
Welcome, dude. Good job picking this video.
I mean, okay, so I gotta click my thoughts here. Okay. First of all, I mean, J.K. Rowling's intent when she started writing the books was not to sell memorabilia. Perhaps to make money, yes, but I think she wanted to tell a story. And when things are popular, people liked having things other than the thing. I don't know, this is weird. It's like, I'm pretty sure you can find merch for some of the oldest I am very curious to know how many Smiths tried to get the license to sell Sting or sell fucking oh my god, I'm blinking on Aragorn's sword. Narsil, how many people wanted the fucking One Ring when that book came out? Or how many people wanted their own, like, this isn't new. This idea that people would like the things in the things they like. I didn't need to see a commercial, and I don't think it was Toriyama's intent to sell Dragon Ball merch to me. But when I see a 4-star Dragon Ball in a store, I go like, ooh, that's cool. I like that because that's in a thing I like. And if this is the idea that, well, your brain has been programmed by all your media to want to buy things that are, I don't know, man. Like, at this point, we're gonna get down to maybe that's just how human brains are wired. Where when we were around cave fires telling stories, maybe one person went home to their cave and drew a cave drawing of the story they were told because they really liked that story and they wanted that story on their cave. So every time they looked at the wall, they remembered it. I mean, who knows how far back this goes of wanting things that remind you and are related to the things you like. I mean, and all right, let's get through
I
this
mean,
video.
also the other thing I'm gonna say is, on your channel, you have an Etsy store where you're selling things.
Yeah, is your whole channel just a commercial for your Etsy channel?
Just kind of a weird take. I mean, just also you have a Patreon as well. Like, I don't know. Like,
And
I feel
I have nothing against that. I think you should. I think you should have something like that in place to where you can get monetized and you can get paid for the things that you want to do. You know, get paid for your passion. That way, one day, that this is all you do for income, and that'd be great. That's what everybody's goal is. But the idea that you're now going to knock on Harry Potter or anybody else who created these stories that want to do the same thing, where they would like to maybe make some money for the thing they created and become successful and get a platform to create other stories.
see, like that. See, like that's what I'm saying. Like, I'm not the one making the assertion here that we're in a consumerist dystopia because you're selling fucking your fucking books on your Etsy page.
Exactly.
But whatever.
Shady. Wouldn't it be better if kids could just switch off and maybe read a book or two? Well, now they can with J.K. Rowling's Harry Potter. But to stay hydrated during those heavy page turns, why not crack open a can of Harry Potter Coca-Cola? Or eat your breakfast with a Harry Potter egg cup. Blow your nose with Harry Potter tissues. Do your makeup with a wand. Try this Hedwig hand cream, a Voldemort casserole dish, this backpack, a Dobby's face hat, a sequin pillow, walkie-talkies,
Yeah.
ramen noodle
Merch.
bowls, erasers, fake nails.
I think that's just a bowl, not a ramen.
Pest
Oh, whatever.
dispensers, these spatulas, or for a truly authentic Hogwarts experience, check out this Deathly Hallows cheese board set. Capitalism breeds innovation.
It actually does look like a cool cheese board set, but whatever. Why are you talking about trains lefts?
Shut the fuck up. That wasn't funny, and you're banned.
No, it fades to dust.
You're banned. All right, let's continue.
It is now illegal.
Everyone's favorite boy wizard is now at the heart of a global consumerist empire, and 16 years after the final book came out, there's more Harry Potter merch than ever before. But hold the phone there.
yeah.
Is that really consistent with the message of the books? A consumerist empire? The way I remember it, Harry Potter had an anti-consumerist message.
What?
You ever noticed how, like, this is completely unrelated, but you ever noticed how, like, whenever children play pretend, they always add way too much inflection on their voice whenever they say things?
Well, I mean, let's just I just want to respond to the thing they said. Harry Potter has an anti-consumerist message. What?
Well, Harry hangs out with the Weasleys, and the Weasleys are poor, so
But
anti-consumerist.
Harry Potter buys an entire trolley his first year when he noticed his friend doesn't have any money and has only a packed lunch.
Harry Potter's fucking rich.
Harry Potter's rich as fuck, and 3 years in a row he gets the top of the line racing broom. And look, here's the thing. I don't think there's a consumerist message in Harry Potter, but there's not an anti-consumerist message. The message is pretty fucking simple. I'm gonna be honest. Okay, the basic moral dilemma, it's good versus evil, but if you want to break down what good and evil really is, it's love versus hate. It's the love of a parent and the love of your friends versus the hate and malice of Voldemort. Harry and Voldemort are very similar, where they're two half-bloods. Mom is from a Muggle family, but has witch powers. Father is a pureblood. Voldemort is the reverse. Mom is from a pure-blooded wizard family, but a squib, and uses a love potion to rape a Muggle-born man. So it's almost like the kind of reverse of Harry Potter situation, where blood like by blood they're both half bloods, but the status of their blood is kind of switched. Instead of having you might say a Muggle-born mother, Voldemort has a squib mother kind of thing, and they're both kind of the outcasts of wizard society. So they're similar in that way, but Voldemort grew hatred for the world, where Harry, even though he grew up in a similar rough environment to Voldemort, Voldemort was in the foster or the orphanage system, and then Harry was, with the Dursleys. Instead of growing a hatred for the world, Harry grew kind of like a wonder and appreciation for the world that he entered, where Voldemort was pretty much mad at the world and the fate and the lot he'd been given, and then when he found out his destiny, he felt like or his heritage, he felt like he'd been robbed. So it's really just the hate of the world, and the inability to rely on anybody else and just cultivating followers rather than friends, versus the love of a parent protecting a child, and that child's love for the world and love for his friends prevailing against Voldemort. This message is very simple. If you think it has anything to do with capitalism, I think you're just giving J.K. Rowling too much credit. I think with a lot of the simple issues she makes in her world building, I don't think she had time to try to insert a capitalist message. Having a consumerist or anti-consumerist message is to imply a level of world building that is simply not present in the books. Sorry.
Giving her too much credit.
Well, yeah, the books aren't this fucking detailed where you could get much. You couldn't even tell me what the actual economy system in Harry Potter is. You don't actually know if it's capitalist or anti. You couldn't tell me in the wizarding world whether or not they go by a capitalist or socialist system. You couldn't tell me if there's a stipend or universal income, or if the Weasleys are in some kind of family assistance, or like you said, government tax breaks. We don't know. We don't know how the Leaky Cauldron, if it's taxed to a certain percentage, if it's in, we don't know. We don't know what regulations exist on any of these other businesses. We know fucking nothing.
Yeah, all we really get is Weasleys are poor ?
Yeah, but it's yeah, we know we barely know what the currency does. We don't even. It has no currency equivalent, as far as we're aware, to real world Muggle money, because you can't use it for for Muggle products. And yeah, we basically understand this currency is enough to buy this, and maybe a chocolate bar might cost. I have no idea. I'm not familiar enough with to tell you what the currency actually equates to, but yeah, we don't know. You couldn't even tell me if it's an American mixed economy, or if it's more a British, more hands-on approach to the economy, but still has some free market allowance. Just, you would say more on the state run than the free in terms of a mixed economy, but it is a mixed economy like America's.
Yeah, I think J.K. Rowling just went, well, right then, we'll just do whatever the English has, but we'll make it all magic-y.
Yeah, that's how she talks.
I did. I saw the interview. We'll just make it a little magic-y, and then we'll give the goblins real big noses, cause they handle the money.
Ma'am, and Roy, and they have these evil enchantments.
And they have all the evil enchantments, and they keep all the gold underground.
God,
and you
I
have
hate
to,
them so much.
God, save the queen. I hate them so much.
Alright, let's continue.
Or did it?
Oh, did it?
Dudley Dursley was a little shit who always got what he wanted. He threw a tantrum on his 11th birthday because he got one fewer present than last year, and he's fat. Dudley doesn't even really like his presents, he just wants them for the sake of it. For instance, he gets a
Bro, I love that shot of him and the boys. It looks like a scene straight out of Shark Boy and Lava Girl.
I was actually gonna say like meet me and the boys. No, yeah. Oh, also this is all off centered because I tried to fucking.
racing bike,
Hold on.
even though he does.
I gotta.
Behind the camera yet again.
Yeah, it's because I tried to fix the format when it wasn't full screen. And now
Yeah,
it's off.
Dudley was a little asshole. It's true. Really sad that in the movies they cut out his like little redemption arc.
Well, yeah, I agree with that. And there's actually there's a moment in the books as well where they kind of do a whole redemption arc for all of the Dursleys, where basically in the seventh book, the world has gone to shit to the extent where basically even the Dursleys are kind of aware of what's going on. In fact, they're more aware of most humans because their son or their nephew happens to be like kind of in the thick of it, as you would say. Here, I'm almost done. Sorry. And so there's a moment when they're like basically going into hiding because it's suggested that even though the Dursleys fucking hate Harry and everyone knows it, Voldemort could be desperate enough to torture them just to see if Harry would come and save them. Because he knows Harry's that kind of guy. That even though he hates the Dursleys, he probably wouldn't be willing to just let them get tortured to death for no reason. And so they're taken off into hiding. And so the Dursleys have that moment where they kind of acknowledge they were mean to Harry and shake his hand. And there's, it's a decent moment in the books. And Dudley even asks like, why don't you come with us? And it's kind of there's a decent little moment for him. But yeah, I don't know why that was taken out. I do heavily disagree with that.
Yeah, I really like that moment. I felt like it was a nice little growth of the character and kind of let you have that feeling that, man, we really are heading into the end game.
Well, yeah, I mean, you kind of had we're graduating from the school arguments with the Malfoys, like or the arguments are getting much more serious in terms of they used to be kind of playgrounds quibbles, now they're death matches in the bathroom, and in that same way we're kind of elevating the tension because even the Dursleys who have hated Harry and never really believed, even they are kind of getting spooked by this, and to the point where they're getting over their prejudice to him. Time unstoppage.
So yeah, we're talking about Dudley being a piece of shit.
Yeah, but it's a shame they cut out his redemption arc. But here's where we're gonna get to an awkward part. J.K. Rowling wasn't having a statement about the state of consumerism. She was just trying to look. J.K. Rowling got bullied by posh rich people in school, so she wanted to make posh rich people that got everything they wanted look like pieces of shit. It's really not that hard. That's why Malfoy's a shit.
Is there some of the cheaper little knickers you got right there?
And it wasn't like she had the idea that being rich inherently made you a fucking asshole or being poor made you an asshole. Like I said, Harry was rich and he immediately, one of the first things he did with his money is throw a fucking party for him and Ron in the compartment on the train. He consistently used his money to help people. This is dumb. You lose.
Okay.
You get nothing.
I can't believe that you're eating the cheap figgy pudding. Oh, I can't believe. Well, God save the Queen.
Racing bike, even
What
though
if
he
I
doesn't
center
like
it? No.
exercise, he has a bunch of books, even though he doesn't
Nay.
read, and he breaks many of the toys he does play with, and he's fat. When his family has to abandon their home, he's only crying because
are you getting
he
upset
doesn't
that
get
he's
to play
fat?
video games or take
Are you getting upset that they're stigmatizing the fact that he's fat and that Harry is skinny in comparison to him because he lives in like the more well taken care of opulent part of the house, and whereas Harry gets the rat corner?
Hey, did you know that in medieval times, most kings were fat and most peasants were skinny?
God, God, they must hate fat people.
Okay.
His TV with him, and he's fat. For
Yes, yes. God damn.
Dudley
She.
Dursley, consumerism
How
is
many
a
time-
thing in itself, and we hate him
What?
for it. And also, he is fat. And what could be more wholesome kids' fun than taking the piss out of small children's bodies? But is he fat?
Okay, Harry. This isn't taking the piss. First of all, why are you assuming that's taking the piss? Fat doesn't have to be a negative term. It's a descriptor. Winston Churchill was fat. Okay, and I don't think he would deny it to you. In the same way that Dudley is fat, and then he's later described as husky, and then brawny, and like it's almost like he grew into his weight, and now he's a heavy. Because in the later books, Dudley's described as like an actual decent threat in terms of physical fighting, because he's grown up basically being a wannabe gangster on the streets, but you know he's a heavy guy. But in the same way that Dudley's described as fat, Harry's described as skinny, scrawny, frail, knobbly kneed, like all these not attractive descriptors. Hermione's described as having bushy hair and buck teeth, and Hermione's, you know, J.K. Rowling's favorite character. Ron's described as being dirty, with clothes that don't fit because they're hand-me-downs, with you know, kind of greasy hair. Snape, like these are all descriptors, because you know these are the negative aspects of how they look. Yeah, Dudley was fat. It doesn't have to be an insult or taking the piss. It's a descriptor of who he was. If there were no fat characters in, or no plus size characters in Harry Potter, you would be complaining about the lack of representation and that fat people exist or something like that. Yeah, Dudley's fat.
Hey, listen,
And
I'm
here's the
gonna
thing:
say
it's not like every fat person. Just real quick, it's not every fat person in this story is like evil or mean. Hagrid is an overweight, kind of rotund-looking guy, and he's the sweetest guy in the story. You know who else is a piece of shit, rich asshole to Harry? Malfoy, who's got basically the same build as him, to the point where they are both seekers, which are generally for smaller build people, kind of like jockeys in horseback racing. You want a small, light person to maneuver and get to the Nimbus. So Snitch, Jesus, not Nimbus. Oh my god, really blanking right now. Brain's getting fucking fried. But yeah, getting the Snitch. Malfoy is basically got the same build as Harry, and he's one of the most contemptible people in the series until he has his redemption. Snape isn't fat. Voldemort isn't fat. I don't know, the most evil... If anything, the most evil characters in the show... Or, I mean, not in the show. The most evil characters in the books or movies... I got it. Jesus. The most evil characters in the books or movies are skinny. So...
I mean, all I was gonna say was, hey, listen, J.K. Rowling's describing British people. They're gonna be ugly. Come on.
You really wanted to get that joke out bad.
Yeah, I was patiently waiting to get it out when I could have just said it in the beginning, huh?
Yeah.
Because bodies just are fat sometimes? Or is he fat because he's greedy and just consumes and consumes and consumes? This is the message.
He's fat because he's a spoiled kid.
Potter, an anti-consumerist one.
How is that No,
He's fat
just
because he's a
because-
spoiled kid that gets whatever he wants. Notice how his dad is really fat, but his mom is really skinny and described having like a giraffe's neck and a horse's face. There's just negative caricatures.
An indictment, if you will, of the choices certain families make regarding their kids and how those choices turn those kids rotten. It's essentially two kinds of child abuse. Harry suffers because he gets nothing. No love, no presents, no respect. And though Dudley is happier than Harry, he'll never be truly happy because of the greed his parents have nourished in him. But here's where the message gets muddled. When Harry finally leaves the Dursleys, he's thrust into a very consumerist wizarding world. And we like it. His introduction to wizardry is literally through the wonderful world of shopping. Wands, broomsticks, Bertie Bott's every flavour beans, chocolate frogs. Harry even wants to spend his enormous new fortune on a gold cauldron. Even buying Hedwig is not about getting Harry a companion, but about what's trendy. Hagrid tells us that toads are out of fashion, which is obviously why dorky Neville has one. When Harry meets Ron, they bond over the special treats Harry buys. Check out these chocolates that come with collectibles.
Okay, so
500 now.
oh my god, we're both trying to pause. Okay,
I didn't touch it at all. You just
No.
double clicked.
Okay, so here's the issue, buddy. This is kind of a common experience whenever you get invited to any kind of new school that requires, like, if it's a boarding school or requires you to go and do something, go away. Usually you have a shopping list and it's like a whole big adventure kind of thing. This isn't new. It's kind of just the magical version of that. Yeah, Harry's being escorted by Hagrid to get his school supplies, so they do a shopping list. That's not his introduction to the Wizarding World, though. His introduction to the Wizarding World is actually a bunch of letters with his name on it being flooded to his house by big-ass birds. And then they flee in the middle of the fucking night with rain pounding to an island in the middle of nowhere, and a giant shows up, knocks the door off its hinges, repairs it, puts a pigtail on his cousin, and then takes him on a boat trip that gets him to London way too fast. That's his introduction to the magic world. Then they go get his school supplies once he's been convinced. And yeah,
No. What should have happened is everything should have been supplied to him, just like in communism, because that's a good thing.
well, yeah. What should have happened is the Ministry of Magic should have seized his parents' money that was bequeathed to
Well,
him,
immediately.
and then they should have, used it.
He didn't pay his inheritance tax, of course.
Well, they seize it, and then when he turns 11, they give him basically the state minimum amount per week, a stipend of his parents' money, so that he spends it responsibly, of course. And it makes it to where he can't actually afford his school supplies because he doesn't have enough time to buy it with his weekly stipends. And so they agreed to do a scholarship advance loan with 15% per quarter or whatever, taking like amounts off of his like inheritance or whatever to pay it.
And then the whole time, the clerk that's doing all the paperwork is talking about how horrible Muggle capitalism is, and saying how progressive the Wizarding World has become. That'd be good.
Yeah. Or maybe that wasn't like the focus at all of the storytelling. It was just, hey, look, this kid's magical introduction. Look at all these cool things that are in the world that he had no idea existed. Like,
Dude, this is literally just getting into the motherfucker over here cannot comprehend what going to a British boarding school is like, and has the concept of having to purchase things to go to the school.
Well, I think what is also missing on this person is that whenever Harry goes to Diagon Alley, all the other kids aren't treating it, and this is kind of where Sorcerer's Stone is more making it more whimsical and happy, but the other kids aren't treating it like a magical little thing. This is just another year. They have to go and they have to get their school supplies, and maybe they're happy because they're running into their friends because their friends are doing the same school supply shopping, but that's the extent. It's not like, oh wow, this is so cool and crazy and magical. It's, oh yeah, I'm doing school shopping for another year at Hogwarts. And as you notice, the further along in the books, Diagon Alley becomes less and less important because it's almost like, well, yeah, they go to Diagon Alley and they get their school supplies because, yeah.
It's like going to the mall. Like in a lot of movies that show characters going to a mall to get things for whatever they're doing, is shown as like an introduction to the area, right?
Well, I mean, Hogsmeade ends up replacing Diagon Alley in that basic fulfillment of wanting to go somewhere that isn't Hogwarts, that you can go buy, like, butterbeer, hang out with your friends, and kind of hang out somewhere that's not Hogwarts grounds. That was basically, like, Hogsmeade was mentioned more in the books than Diagon Alley, which would be, like, the market district.
500 now. This is all part of Harry's wish fulfillment experience where he turns out to be rich and famous and super fucking good at absolutely everything. And maybe the message is just that...
So that's a Mary Sue super good at everything. Alright, so let's start with this. Nope, he's not very good at magic, actually. That's one of the things. This is kind of funny. In the first movie, he casts accidental magic, making the glass disappear and stuff like that. But if I remember correctly, in the first movie, he doesn't successfully cast a single spell. We see him practice Wingardium Leviosa, but I don't think he actually does it. He says up, but that's just with the hand and pulls the broom to his hand. And then doesn't use any magic in his fight with Professor Quirrell, just grabs him by his hands using like the love magic charm that was on him. So, in the books, it was explained that
So wasn't he also like not super great with the broom the first time he used it?
No, he was a natural.
Okay.
That was the thing that he was probably the only thing he was naturally good at in terms of the wizarding world. And practical magic, like he could figure out if someone taught him how to do a spell and it was practical in combat, he was good at. Harry was and I think it's why it's good that Harry became an Auror. Harry was just a battle wizard, just to his core. That's why he was good at Quidditch. He just had good instincts. He was good at reacting under pressure and making good decisions in the pocket. If you give Hermione 15 extra seconds per action to react, she's going to beat Harry. But in a duel between Harry and Hermione, Harry's probably going to win generally just because he's better at reacting under pressure and he's better at just making quicker decisions. And you might laugh at him.
If you give Hermione prep time.
Well, yeah, I mean, and here's the thing. Harry might have 4 spells, but he fucking knows how to use those 4 spells, goddammit. Oh, all he uses is Expelliarmus. Okay, do something about it then. I'm sorry he keeps winning with it, dude. It seems like it's good.
Expelliarmus, stupefy. Expelliarmus, stupefy.
Reducto. Protego Maxima. Expecto Patronum. But yeah, I mean, Harry wasn't really super good.
Just 5 moves. It's so cringe.
I mean, yeah, and also in the books explain that Harry wasn't that great of a student. In fact, the only time he ever had a really good grade in any class that wasn't through Hermione cheating for him and writing his essays or doing his homework, you know what it was, Trevor? Would you like to know?
What?
In the 6th book, Harry finds a book that's written by the Half-Blood Prince that basically has better versions of the notes and lessons written in the margins. So again, Harry just cheats. And Hermione's so pissed because it's the only year that he's doing better than her.
It's really funny.
So yeah, like Harry's not that great of a like saying he's absolutely perfect or at everything. Really, the only thing Harry's good at is he's a natural on the broom, and he's really good at making snap decisions in the pocket. I mean, my boy would be a great quarterback. Pressure in the pocket, unbeatable.
Unbeatable boy.
But Harry, having been denied so much over the years, does. He deserves to be spoiled, to spend money, to finally be freed from this poverty forced on him by his aunt and uncle. But who knows? How you read this in relation to Dudley's consumerism is up to you. It's obviously open to interpretation, but how did Warner Brothers interpret it for the films? Well, there's more than one Warner Brothers to talk about here. You've got Warner Brothers Pictures, who make the films, and Warner Brothers Consumer Products, who make the merch. They're separate, but they have to work closely together. The film promotes the merch keeps the franchise relevant in between film releases. They go back and forth, strengthening one another. So
holy shit, we're learning how it works.
You need a distinct, clear narrative running through both.
If you understand how it works.
That's what I'm saying. Like, how are you reaching this criticism when you actually fundamentally understand how this works in a series? Like,
maybe whenever you open the book, does Harry cast Stupefy on you?
Like, I don't understand. Like, we understand that the primary demographic of most of these products is going to be children, and that children like to play with toys. So, yeah, I mean, you're gonna make toys because children have a shorter, memory span or attention span. So you want to hold their attention till next year. You know how you do that? You give them a toy that they play with all fucking year, or a video game that they can play with all year. This isn't rocket science. Why do you think something like anime is really, really popular and successful with kids or cartoons? Well, it's because,
Racist.
well, no, shut up. I'll stop your memery. Um, it's now illegal. No, but the reason that they're so successful is because they're not one-offs in terms on, like, yeah, every kid's gonna love the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. If it's a movie, do you know what they're going to do immediately after they finish watching that movie?
What?
They're going to go to the main menu and they're going to go play and they're going to watch that movie again. Um, how many times has your daughter watched Frozen?
Innumerable.
Do you think if there was a Frozen anime, she would have watched every episode by now?
Well, there is a Frozen TV show.
Okay, well, like that's kind of my point. Like, there's a
Yeah.
reason these shows do so well.
She has. We bought her an Elsa doll because she fucking loves the show.
That's kind of the point where it's these things work because they keep kids' interest when they have short attention span. When they play with something every day, it becomes a whole. Like, the Dragon Ball is a great example. Harry Potter is a great example for you. Look at all the things you're surrounded by. No one forced you to buy those, and Harry Potter isn't. J.K. Rowling isn't subverting your autonomy by making you buy these things. You wanted to buy these things because I assume that you like Harry Potter and you're interested in the subject material. That isn't a bad thing. You should. It's the same thing when me and you watched Nerdrotic and you kind of made fun of him for his figurines in the background and said it was kind of weird that he was, criticizing Marvel and the media thing with all those in the background. And it was my whole point where, well, he obviously bought these or collected these at a time where it was doing well, so he wanted to support it. And this is his hobby. This is his thing that he wants to collect. And I think it's perfectly fine to display your passion for something in that way. And in the same way, I have no problem if you want to have your room look like this. If you like Harry Potter and this is your room, totally cool with that.
Images like
You
Dudley
don't have anything to
Dursley's
say?
depressing room of broken, forgotten
No.
toys would
No
probably
memery.
not be good for selling Harry Potter toys that kids will undoubtedly
You made it
break
illegal.
and forget about in a few weeks. Luckily, the books have another, very different portrayal of consumerism to our consumerism.
So you're in
In the film
protest.
adaptation of The Philosopher's Stone, the Dursley segment...
No more
Harry
memes
cut down
until
some
my
of the
demands are met.
including those related to
5
humor.
weeks
We don't
PTO.
see his special room of toys.
Hell
We don't see his
no.
racing bike. We don't
we can
hear
afford
Harry
that.
talk about how jealous
Well, we kind of see it a bit. All right.
Huh. Future you already arguing with
books
past
he
you.
finds on Diagon Alley. But we do get multiple close-ups of the Nimbus 2000 logo. We get all the shopping. We
Okay,
get the candy.
why do you think that is? Why do you think we get a close-up of the Nimbus 2000? Do you think it's a sweet commercialized thing, or do you think it's perhaps foreshadowing that he's going to get that later in the movie and use it?
No, it's because when I go to buy my flying broom, I'm gonna pick only
Exactly.
the silk of the Nimbus
What-
2000.
That's right. When I go get my flying broom, I'm not going to settle for anything less than the fireball.
Wait.
God damn it.
Wait, dude. Earlier, whenever you said the Nimbus, you were actually right.
I knew it was something. Yeah.
That's actually really impressive. How do you remember that?
I mean, it's one of the most famous brooms in the series, the Nimbus 2000 and the Firebolt.
Okay.
Also, I want to play Baldur's Gate after this. And we have
We're
to
not gonna have time. We're not gonna have time.
God, alright, we gotta hurry. Let's go.
All the great stuff which has been produced by Warner Brothers Consumer Products. Ron's embarrassment about his family's poverty is skipped over in the film, so we have plenty of time to talk about chocolate and jelly beans. You're not only watching the story...
Yeah, I'll agree with
You
that.
were-
No,
You're able to insinuate it from the dialogue in that scene where Ron is talking about the stuff that they're eating kind of whimsically and the fact that he doesn't get to eat it all the time. You can insinuate that.
Well, yeah, and I think it's disingenuous to say we're just focusing on the candy, because Ron's whole reaction and his excitement about the candy and the fact that he produces a sandwich and says, "I'm all set," and with a sad face, that shows you that he's, that he's from a poor background. But yeah, I will agree to the extent that there's a lot more, and I think it's, hold on, can we go back and see what they put on text?
Harry Potter's adventure.
1 second.
Harry Potter.
Good.
Consumer Products. Ron's embarrassment...
Okay. His name's Scabbers, and he's useless. He hardly ever wakes up. So this is actually in the movie where he talks about Scabbers and being a useless rat. But they couldn't afford. I mean, I got Scabbers instead. Yeah, I don't think that specific thing was included, but I think this will actually be a point to the director. I think doing the whole. He's dirty. He's got those misshapen clothes. There's sometimes where you can show and not tell. We knew Ron was poor. No one needed to read the first book to know Ron was poor in the first movie.
I mean, also, if you go back with the information from what was said at Diagon Alley, we know that owls are like the primo thing, and then toads were in the past. He has a rat.
Yeah, what the fuck?
So we can obviously tell that he's not within the last 2 cycles of the most popular things.
Also, if the idea that these are hyper-intelligent animals that will obey, like, sophisticated commands, I mean, I guess you get an owl because, God, it's got to be so useful for the male. But if I'm rich like Harry, I'm getting an owl for the utility, I'm getting a cat for, like, everything else. Dude, a wizard cat would be so fucking baller. Also, if you were an animagus, which animal would you try to be?
Fuck's an animagus.
So you know how like Sirius and Harry's dad and Professor McGonagall can transform into different animals?
Yeah.
So like they can only transform into like one animal. So McGonagall can only transform into a cat. That's their animagus or her animagus. Sirius.
I would do a stag so I can get the deeracy.
Okay, well, so you would be Harry's dad because Harry's dad is also a stag. I would pick like. I'm just not gonna acknowledge that. I would pick. I think a big dog or a wolf would be cool. Maybe a dire wolf. That'd be really cool. Just a big ass gigantic wolf that could beat the shit out of werewolves. That'd be cool, dude. All right. Anyway, hold on. Let's finish this. Let's go.
It's desperately trying to get through it.
Poverty is skipped over in the film, so we have plenty of time to talk about chocolate and jelly beans. You're not only
dialogue is being delivered,
Harry
but
Potter's
whatever.
Adventures in the Wizarding World. You're watching Harry byproducts, which are now available at your local store. Harry Potter was the perfect series for film adaptation because it could be interpreted as so pro-consumerism. And no one batted an eyelid. Contrast this with other attempts such as The Hunger Games, which is perhaps not quite so pro-consumerism unless you count the awful vain consumerists at the Capitol.
Well, yeah.
Which
That's the point of the story.
Point.
The point
That's
of the
the whole
story
point.
of Hunger Games is to condemn the Capitol for their greedy consumerist ways while the people around them suffer. That's literally a message woven into the point of Hunger Games. Harry Potter had nothing to do with that. It's not trying to approach those kind of storytelling like themes.
What kind of schizophrenic scrying are you using to determine that Harry Potter is the perfect vessel to talk about this? But fucking, why not say the consumerist dystopia of the Hunger Games?
You know what? This is what I'm gonna do. I know we're 5 minutes in, but we covered some intro. I'm gonna call the surprise inspection here for one reason. Well, I'll give more than one reason. So 2 reasons. One, what I wanted to talk about, and we are actually getting into the actual somewhat narrative underlying it, the world building itself, which is what I wanted to get into, so I'm happy about that. But for the most part, we covered a lot of meta intro kind of marketing kind of ground. And 2, because I do like the idea of keeping these surprise inspections at an hour long. So this will be a multi-part one to get through, but we're only going to do these in hour-long chunks. And with us editing out that one break, it'll be right at about an hour. So we're going to keep these at an hour long because, yes, that's why. So, with all that being said, we're going to finish up part 2. Or we'll probably finish it in the next part. It'll only be an hour to get through the next 20 minutes.
35 minutes.
I believe in us. I think with all the intro out of the way, we'll just be able to let the video play.
We'll see.
But
all right, guys, be sure to tune into part 2 on this to get the finish out of the surprise inspection.
That's right. And maybe by the end of part 2, we'll realize we only got 3 minutes in, and then we'll have to do part 3, and this will be an eternal Sisyphus's boulder. We might lose minutes in one video.
All right, be sure to hit the subscribe button. That's all I want you guys to do this time. Hit the subscribe button, hit the bell notification, please.
No, I hit you with the ancient invocation. Sicut commentarium sequi. Okay.
Sequi.
Alright, well, you guys have a good old weekday. Look, we bought you another hour. Alright, you owe us. You fucking owe us. You're 2 hours in your shift. You got this. You got this, boo.
Yeah, you got it, dude. See ya.
Alright, later.